Called meeting to order.
Rise, stand, yeah, all rise, stand for the
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Kramer. Webb. Here. Ridley.
Here.
Here. And Minks. Here.
Minutes for the February 1st meeting.
I don't know if it's a moot point or not now, because we didn't have the meeting, but you had it under there that we were just going to do the bid and purchasing policy. And I thought, the discussion was multiple policies for that workshop, because we could do just one policy in a meeting, we wouldn't need a workshop, so. But I don't know if that's a moot point or anything now, so. We ended up not having a meeting anyway.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Support?
All in favor? The agenda. Anything? Motion to adopt the agenda is written. Having support? There's support? Oh, Bob supports. All in favor? Public comment on agenda items?
I've got a question on one, on the fireworks.
Mhm.
Where are they gonna be shot from?
On the barge. Thank you. Correspondence, we had one letter from the Straits Land Resorter, from Kathy Swanson. Any other correspondence? Treasurer's report and bills.
Alright, tax accounts, $933,000. Kind of loud. $471.11. General accounts, $3,895,402.92. Those are fresh off the press, not balanced at this point. And the bills.
Questions about the bills, comments?
Okay. Dynamic School Assemblies, Inc. That was on the,
on the checkbook register?
that's a vendor.
Is that for the library?
I've got library.
Library, okay. I know it's not much, but Ken's Village Market.
That might have been me, I go get, what did I get? Like, oh, I brought 3 ring binders.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And the DEQ, they had quite a bit there.
That was our renewal of our permit.
That's all for that.
Did we ever pay all the airport bills, Mike, when they made those?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Are we gonna have to do a budget adjustment on the fire department? Since it exceeds our budget, or do we do that later?
We do that after the final.
Oh, okay,
At the final disbursement.
So we'll have a chance when we
okay,
do next year's budget.
okay.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Motion, is there support?
I'll support.
Anybody supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Chief's report, chief?
So on February 16th, we hired our new officer.
Everybody's turning off their mics. Okay.
So on February 16th, we hired a new officer, Jackson Jones. Seems to fit in really well with the other officers. We're really excited to have him on board with us. He's going to, probably for the next 6 to 9 months, he'll be in the field training, program, so he'll be with Officer Chamberlain for that amount of time. Our police officers are having an election to switch labor unions from Police Officers Labor Council to FOP Labor Council. That's gonna happen sometime in April. They just felt that they would get better representation, a little bit less money, and the FOP rep actually lives locally here. So I think that was the main reason why they wanted to switch labor unions. I did get a tip on a couple possible patrol cars. They're 2022 Chevy Tahoes. They are police pursuit rated. They're gonna be arriving in Grand Rapids in June. I've talked to the salesman. He ordered his quota. He had already sold 3 of them. He's got 3 left over. He said he was gonna get me a quote. That was last week, and I'm still yet to hear back from him. I sent him another email today. But we are really, really in dire straits for a new patrol car. Our primary patrol car right now has 178,000 miles on it.
Oh, wow.
So what do you need
Unfortunately,
from us, chief?
our vehicle maintenance bill is gonna start eating into my vehicle that we had budgeted for new vehicles. What do I need from you? Well, as soon as I get some quotes, I was actually kinda wondering if maybe, if it's possible, maybe a little ARPA money towards that? Just a suggestion, maybe something to talk about, or if anybody has any connections, I don't even care at this point what kind of patrol vehicle it is. I don't care if it's a Ford, a Dodge, a Chevy.
A Schwinn?
We need some,
We're talking about that today.
yeah,
I mean,
because if we don't come up with something soon, we're gonna be pedaling down the road
Well,
on bicycles.
if you get this quote, don't you have the authority to buy it?
You know,
I'm just asking because I don't know. It's in his budget.
I guess I would come back to the board before I made any final decisions, because I know the Tahoes are a lot more expensive than what I originally budgeted for Chargers. So originally I was asking for 2 patrol cars. This might actually eat up the majority for just one vehicle.
Oh,
So.
is that like a Suburban?
It is, yes.
Oh.
Smaller than a Suburban.
Yeah, it's not as big as a Suburban, it's a
And a
Tahoe.
gas hog too.
Yep,
Not really. I have one.
Really?
Yeah, mine's not that bad.
probably no worse than pickup truck.
Yeah.
Four-wheel?
It's better.
It is all-wheel drive, yes. And up here, I would not have a vehicle that wasn't all-wheel drive,
Of course not.
so,
So nothing new on the Chargers that you really want, eh?
nothing new.
Wow.
Wow.
Like I said, if anybody has any leads or tips, or please let me know, because we are starting to get desperate for a new car, so.
If you don't hear anything from the sales guy,
I have,
let me know.
I've been calling the sales guy like every 2 weeks. In fact, I think I'm actually starting to annoy him.
Why
He
don't you
just picks up the phone and says,
Give
I
me
haven't
a
heard
tip.
anything yet.
I'll
How about
contact the area
just
rep.
Yeah, if you have any
Overstate.
contacts with GM or Chrysler or,
go over his head, go to the sales manager?
so, well, we deal with the police fleet manager, or the police fleet, so, because they deal in the government pricing.
Let Dawn help you, she's got connections.
I still do. Give me a name.
Okay.
Anything else, Chief?
Nope, that's it.
I want to remind everybody that if you're eating dinner some night and please do change unions, it's generally the FOP that's calling for donations, and you can with a clear conscience say, no, thank you, I already give, so you'll be paying. Thank you. Cemetery report, Jan?
Couple of things. We had talked about recognition for the cemetery as a historic place. The bad news is that getting recognition under the National Register of Historic Places is about a 2-year process, and you have to go through the State Historic Preservation Office to do that. I'm still willing to do that, but it takes a while. The benefit is that you're part of the Department of Interior and the National Park System budget, so there could be opportunities for funding there. So The shorter version is to go through the DNR and get a Michigan historical marker, depending on what you wanna do, how big a marker you want. There's a pretty lengthy, application for that, about 8 pages. They want a census of how old the markers are, the grave markers are in the cemetery, and the historical, significance of those cemeteries, which, having looked at other cemeteries that have gotten recognition, I'm pretty confident that we can do that. It's gonna take a little bit of time. I had talked to Doug about tree work. I'm probably gonna be asking for a budget, to give you fair warning, of $20,000 to get the tree work started. One of the downsides of the historic register is that some of the cemeteries have preserved the 100-plus-year-old trees. I'm not good enough, I'm not an arborist, so I don't know if we have any trees in that category, but we'll wanna be careful about selecting those. And I'm getting an estimate for the erosion on the hill at the cemetery in Oak Hill. So that's what's happening.
Can I ask a question?
Sure,
Is that amount of money even gonna be enough?
for a year, I think.
That's a 5-year plan.
Oh,
That's to get started, so.
That's the first
okay.
year.
Cause you were talking about opening up the canopy.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a 5-year plan.
Right, so
We
that,
can't afford to do it all at once, and they don't have the time to do it all at once.
but that's that thing you were talking about last time about just bringing them in for a week and just.
Yep, yep.
Get some
20,000
sunshine.
get you a week's worth.
So I assume you'd start on the south side first if you got the money?
Yes.
Awesome.
So the first thing we're gonna do is take out the ones that have to come out.
And then what, I guess my other question is, Mike has brought up in the past about some issues on the side of the hill.
Yep,
Chance has
yep, yep.
mentioned that.
So, I work for a landscape company, for those of you who don't know, and they have offered to come out and take a look at it, but they wanna wait until the snow melts.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
which will put us against the clock to get the budget done, but
If
we'll
we
get.
approve the money, when would you do the work?
I'll have to get on a schedule. That would be as soon as I can get a tree service in there. Josh with View's Tree Service gave me the 20,000 quote, which from doing that in the past is a pretty reasonable 1 week's labor quote. So, and then you just have to get them to be able to fit you into their schedule.
How many people for a week?
They'll bring a crew in, and the crew usually consists of 4 to 5 people. You'll have a guy climbing, a guy in a bucket, 2 guys running the chipper, and 1 guy manning ropes, pretty much.
Can we reuse the chips?
Yeah.
We talked about, so I wanted to know if we wanted chips.
Yes, it all depends on what time of the year the chips come down.
Okay.
If you get early spring and winter chips, you can reuse them. You get them in the middle of summer after the trees flush out with leaves, and it's a god-awful mess. And they stink, and
So what is your definition of spring? Late April, early June, early May, or?
for him to get in there, I have no clue what his schedule would be.
No, no.
Oh, you mean leaf out, after they leaf out, you can't utilize chips after they're leafed out, the leaf material is what ferments in there, and it stinks, and they'll be black and miserable. Who knew? And if you're doing a lot of pine, I like reusing.
Okay.
All right, well, let us know, because maybe we could get some chips if we decide to go there. Be really nice.
Thank you. Jan, DDA report, Doug and I are still trying to get a mason to do concrete work. It's been a process. I think the last time I did talk to you, looks like we have a clear path to getting the corner to put a well in. So, I don't know if I reported that last time, but it's concerned now, just trying to find somebody that can take care of the concrete work for when the weather breaks. So we've met with how many people now? 4 different people. So, and that's about it. Parks Commission, Doug?
We have everything on order and set to come in for Field 6 to be completed as soon as the snow goes off, and I'm working on, with Quantis on the, looking for the pavilion, just getting ready for spring, and if it doesn't come soon, tomorrow wouldn't be quick enough.
Thank you, Doug. Planning Commission, Mr. Sherman?
Yeah, I think Don brought it up last month, I wasn't here, but, we're talking about doing a master plan this year sometime. Last one we did was, it was approved January 2013. We updated it from 2010 because we needed the consensus. So we're looking at talking to Mike Turris up in the county planner. He thinks we should get started before the budget is approved, because we need to hire a consultant to put this book together like this. I mean, there's a lot of work in here. It's got a lot of information about, the different types of people who live here, the different categories as far as businesses and things like that. It's if you haven't looked at this, go on our website. This is from 2013. So the state now requires the townships to do a master plan, at least update it or pass an amendment if you don't change it this year. So we plan on updating our master plan, because it's basically been 10 years, and I think there's some things that we need to update based on what's happened here in the last 10 years. Has a lot of the zoning, requirements as far as agriculture, forestry, things like that we put in here, and this is what the county will use. They take our master plan as is, and they incorporate it with it. We're one of the only 2 townships that actually put together a master plan in Sheboygan. Burke Township's the other one. So basically, because we didn't put money into the budget last year for, I don't know why, but Don's gonna make sure we get something in June, because we need to take bids from a consultant. Last time we had a lady named Mary Campbell that did it, but she's retired. She put all this together. And so hopefully we have enough people out there. I know NIMCOG is one of them that does it, and so Don, the next few months, they're looking. What Mike Turris had recommended, though, is maybe we get started in April, start looking at what we want to change here. So by the time we start getting involved with the actual information, because half this book is based on the census. There really is a lot in there about how much money people make, on average, and how much the households are, how much Tuscarora Township gives to the county in funds, which we need to keep pushing those people to give us some more leverage here. But so we're gonna hopefully start at the end of April. I sent an email out today to all the planning commissioners that look at the state's requirements. They just come out that they want everybody at least look at it. If you don't change it, you need to pass an amendment to tell the state of the county that you're not making any changes. But I think we've had enough changes in this township in the last 10 years. I know with Bob, he's got a vision for the future, so all the meetings are open to the public. When we get started and once we get going with a consultant, we'll take everybody's information, and then at the end, we have a meeting with the township township board and the public to get this whole thing. So it takes a long time to put this together, so we're looking hopefully to get it done before the end of the year.
Do you remember how much we paid?
I don't remember.
For some reason, 10 grand.
It sounds like 10, but that was 10 years ago, Mike. And we had done one in 2010, but we had enough changes that we updated in 12 because of the census and the other couple other things that came up. The sewers were one thing that we put in here, which wasn't in our original one in 2010. So we'll probably want to update it for the phase 1 annex and the phase 2 this year too, and the future sewers if we want to do that. So this is a good piece of work here, because what happens is that when people come to us to make some changes to zoning, we've got the book here that says this is what we look at this area to be, whether it's commercial, residential, agriculture and forestry, etc. So that's what we use when people come to us, and the county will hopefully use the same format that we do here. So
Do we know, did Burke Township do theirs?
I don't know that. I haven't talked to, I should talk to, I know one of the supervisors, or one of the trustees there, but I don't know if they've done it yet or not.
I'd like to know who they use.
Because Mike is not, Mike Turris didn't indicate they get it yet, so.
Who does the county use? Maybe they.
Well, that's the other thing, we gotta talk to the county, so hopefully Dawn, because in the past, the clerk has got the different people's bids, and we used Mary Campbell the last time because Burt Township used her, and so did Emma County, and she was very, very good. If you look at her book, she did a lot of work on this thing for us, so,
I know every time the county talks about something going on down here, they refer to that document.
yeah, that's what I said, we do it.
It's like their Bible.
Yeah, exactly, and just like, some of the ordinance, like the food truck ordinance we put together, this thing is well put together, and it's a good reading if you wanna know how much money that we give the county and where our, we're, I just looking at it again tonight, so like I said, it takes a lot of work, but it's a good piece of history to look at or follow with. So if we've got ideas, I know Bob's got some ideas, his vision for the future too, that we can incorporate in here for the next 10 years, so.
I really don't, the only thing.
You don't?
The only thing I'm just worried about is what everybody else is worried about, and that's affordable housing.
Well, that's in our book too, that's in our last 10 years, but it really hasn't, it hasn't come to fruition.
Because I know two gentlemen in the community that are trying to work that, and they're starting with 6 units at the end of the year.
Well, I know it started 10 years ago, but because of the way the economy was too, it just kinda got put behind. But there's a lot of things more we can do too, like we can enforce the blight ordinance, put a little more in there for the different areas there. I took a drive today down to Jim's house, and there's some places that I'd like to see cleaned up that this township needs some looking at in some areas too.
Send the chief a picture. He's
I'm
pretty
sure
good at it.
I'm sure he's gone by these places before, so.
Just send him a picture.
Down by, the old, Bird Lake Marina, okay, but that's where we're at right now. So hopefully, starting in the end of April, we'll start having preliminary meetings, and, anybody's welcome to attend if they wanna start looking at what we're doing. And the first thing you should do is look at the last book, and it's out there on the website if you don't know where it's at, so. And there's a lot of information in there, so, okay?
Thank you, Mike. Sewer report, Bob.
Do you have any questions on what I already sent you? I sent another one out today. I don't know if you had a chance to read it. Did you see it?
I saw that.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I just wanted to reemphasize that, it's almost like this EGLE is begging to give us this 1.5 million. It's just, it's how to frame it correctly. But as I said in the report, Mike and I and Janet had a phone conference with EGLE, and we really do need your permission to file a phase 2 application with the state. And the reason I feel we need that is because there would be some expense. Janet, do you know what that would cost us?
No, but what we have to do is, we have to hire a stenographer. They want a word-for-word transcript of our public meeting, and they will give us. Public hearing, and they will give us even, every question that we're supposed to ask, and, all the stuff. They've got a very meticulous way of doing their public hearings, and they want a word for word, so we'd have to hire a stenographer.
But the good news is Performance Engineering is gonna continue to help us.
So this is we're talking phase 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Bob, did, Emily was the one that was gonna help us do the application.
She had to back out
Right.
For personal reasons. So, for that reason, I asked Janet to help me, and I will help, Nancy will help, and we talked Aaron into it, who
Yeah.
really didn't wanna do it.
So we need a motion to,
Just a head nod, that would. I think we need a motion to give the subcommittee permission to proceed with the phase 2 application to the state revolving.
there's a motion to proceed.
So this is just the application, this isn't, this doesn't incur any fees at this point, it's just
Just-
the application, this doesn't have anything to do with it.
But it will incur fees when we have the public hearing.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking now, because that's part of the application process. Your application is not complete until you actually do that.
Okay, so can we add some, not to I mean, I don't wanna
I
just
think you
leave
should
that
come back
open-ended.
with once we get a bid for a stenographer, come back with it, but right now, just proceed. The motion is to proceed.
Yeah,
But
sure.
if we proceed, there
But
will be fees.
there will be fees, but I mean, if we say not to exceed $5,000 and comes back,
Oh, it better not be 5,000.
I don't know.
No, it's just to hire a stenographer, I can't
I
imagine
don't
it'd be
know.
that much.
I-
But we would get bids for that, you know?
Yeah.
and,
I'd just like a number, cause I don't wanna just say
Oh,
approve
I
it
agree,
and
I
go,
agree.
and then it ends up.
Well, let's say 2,500 max, and then you
And
can
if it
come
comes
back.
back,
Okay.
Yeah.
more than that, we'll let you guys
Yeah.
know,
We'll come
we'll
back.
vote on again.
Because this wouldn't happen until late April, early May. It goes pretty quick, because the deadline now is first of June.
Okay, there's a motion not to exceed, to proceed with
$2,500.
$2,500. Is there support? Bobby supports. All in favor?
Pass.
Great. Anything else, Bob, on the
No,
sewer?
thank you very much.
Okay. Kelsey?
Yep. Okay, so there's a lot going on in March at the library. We're doing Books for Bulldogs on Tuesday, March 8th from 4 to 5, and that's where you can bring your kids. They don't have to be Inland Lakes students, but you can bring them in, and we'll do a craft, and then we'll have Inland Lakes teachers read to them. And then we have our hobby hangout book folding class, so we'll be teaching everybody how to measure out the pages and fold them so that the book reads, it says the word read. And so that's on Wednesday, March 23rd from 1 to 3 p.m. We're doing a library open house at the end of the month on Thursday, March 31st from 4 to 6. And that's where you can just come in whenever you want during that time. Hopefully we'll have board members there, and then we'll also have all the staff there. And we'll be there to ask or answer any questions you have, show you all the new stuff that we've done since the millage is passed and everything else. So that's going to be pretty exciting. We'll have refreshments and everything else, and that is March 31st. And we still are doing our homebound service, so while things are really icy and going between rain and snow right now, if you end up stuck in your house and you just can't get out, then call us and order your books, and we'll bring them to you on Thursday. So, and that's for anybody, even if it's a temporary homebound. So it doesn't have to be like you're totally stuck at home to use it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Kelsey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many about how much is your homebound service used?
Well, we have 2 people who use it almost every week, but for the most part, it's been kind of slow growing. Our friends of the library are the reason why we can do it, because they deliver for us. But we're trying to spread the word. I have pamphlets that I'm making to stick in different places and stuff. But we have had at least I think 5 people now use it since we started in November. So
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, so it's been
Okay,
good. I think it's
growing
just good to
then.
have. Yeah.
Good.
So it's always available for whenever you need it.
I hope everybody here has had a chance to go in the library, because it actually is one of the it's one of the neatest places in the township. It's just so cool in there now.
Yeah,
Really
you'd
enjoy it.
never believe it when you walk in, but it looks really cool in there. And we try to decorate every month, so our March stuff is all up now. So the whole library is green.
Thank you, Kelsey, very
you.
much. Appointment of FOIA coordinator. We have a resolution up there. I can't read that from here. Whereas the Michigan Freedom of Information Act provides for public access to certain public records, public bodies, and prescribes the powers and duties of certain public officers and public bodies. And whereas it is the public policy of this state that all persons, except those persons incarcerated in state or local correctional facilities, are entitled to full and complete information regarding the affairs of government and the official acts of those who represent them as public officials and public employees, and that the people shall be informed so that they may fully participate in the democratic process. And whereas Section 6 of the Act requires that a township shall designate an individual as the public body's Freedom of Information Act coordinator, who shall be responsible for accepting and processing requests for the township's public records and for approving a denial under Section 5 of the Act. And let's leave that open until we,
Shouldn't we update our policy first?
I'd like to look at that a little, I read through that, I would like to look through that a little closer.
It's just to fill in the blank.
Well, there's a couple extra paragraphs that I did not, the ones you gave me.
Yeah,
There was something in there that, actually it was quite a, public inspection of records was quite lengthy. It wasn't in there
That's the
before.
new, that's the 2020 version you're talking
Yeah.
about on the MTA sample. I don't think we need a resolution to appoint a coordinator. It doesn't say anything like that in the law, that we need the resolution. If we pass this resolution and we don't change the policy, they're in contradiction of each other. And I don't think we need to do that. I think, doing the resolution is not even necessary. I think we should just do the policy. If the coordinator is going to be changed, we can vote on that at this time, and then make a date to change the FOIA policy as soon as possible, so it doesn't contradict. Right now, the FOIA policy that we have that's published, and we're required to publish it, says it is the office admin. We don't even have an office administrator at this point. So we can go ahead and, I think as a temporary basis, appoint someone else to do the FOIA coordinator, and with the provision that we change the policy to match that as soon as possible.
I didn't know we were looking at the policy, we have a resolution.
This resolution, this,
I don't think
she
the
said-
resolution is necessary, is
No,
what I'm
but we
saying.
have a resolution in place right now.
The resolution says
Is
the
who?
office administrator serves as the FOIA coordinator.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
in our
That-
policy, yeah.
no,
It's a
It's
resolution
a resolution
that was signed
that
in
was
2010.
adopted in 2010.
Okay,
No one knows who the office administrator
we don't have
is.
one,
Well, he's the chief administrator.
I volunteered to be the.
but you're
just cut
volunteering
to
to
the
do it,
chase.
and it can be anybody via
Yeah.
the FOIA coordinator, that's the point.
Does
Well,
our-
you have to appoint somebody and it's
Exactly.
appointed by resolution.
Exactly.
So I'd say we just change the resolution. I'm gonna nominate Mike. He
Well, I
volunteered to take
I
it.
volunteered to take it because I have a
Okay.
little more time in the office. I'd be glad to do it,
Okay,
you know.
and I don't have a problem with
And
that, I
he-
just don't wanna have contradiction type of things out there.
There won't be, but he actually can appoint whoever is the FOIA coordinator can appoint somebody else to do it. That is in the law. So if he decides down the road he wants to have someone else do it, he can do that.
Okay, so now therefore it be resolved that this date, the board, well, let's see, the resolution offered by board member
But
Webb. Second offered by,
Well, that's okay.
and I'll do it, supervisor will serve as the township FOIA coordinator. Roll call?
Kramer,
Yes.
Webb, yes. Ridley?
Yes.
Careful what you wish for.
Bobby?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to that. Dust control contract. There's, one thing that's pertinent here is, last year, I got so frustrated with this because I could not, I found a company, Don and I are gonna find the company's name tomorrow out of Gaylord that were just excellent to work with. I don't know what their price is. Right now, the road commission, we generally would go with, that's, calcium chloride sales, Michigan chloride sales, and the low bid right now. Can you read that?
Yeah, the document.
I got it in there, but
and one more.
is,
So we're gonna go with somebody different.
well, looks like American Waste, that's who we, I just could not get a phone call back from them. They're 28 cents a gallon.
Did you talk to Travis by chance, or else?
Not this year.
I
Travis
vaguely-
Warwick's at
Yes.
the World Commission.
I vaguely remember that he really liked who we used last year.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, it was older equipment, it wasn't the kind they forced it, they just kinda spread it and they took their time and it was, I really,
You rode in the truck with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
We
really,
can-
that's right.
We can figure it out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want, Mike.
Yeah.
You
What's
have
that?
the experience.
Do we
you
need
know.
to do an RFP for it, or?
Well, this is, when they do the RFP.
do it.
They do it, okay.
Yeah, they do the RFP, but the company that, they're not on there. The company that I found down in Gaylord, they have to order the water, and that's how.
Right,
Doug, do you remember them? Do you remember them or not?
Nope, you rode your own truck and I didn't have to.
Well, we need to let the county know.
Yeah, if you want, a motion to let the supervisor handle this. And then I'll report back with what price per gallon, and if we need to have a.
Because there are such things as best value contracts.
Yeah.
Price isn't always the only.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I got really frustrated with American Waste, the Northern A1
Yeah, I
services.
remember,
We
that's why
used,
I'm
we
saying.
used them before for other things, and they've been good, but this, I just got really frustrated with Cappy. I just could not get it.
About how much do we spend per year on brine?
Oh, man, I should look that up.
Cause it wasn't in the budget, we should make sure we have,
It's in
Is
there.
there?
It's
Yeah,
in there. It might not be its
under
own
road.
line item, but
It's under road.
it's in there.
Under
Yeah.
streets and
And
roads.
I don't wanna throw out a figure.
Before we
I
vote,
have 1,000 in my head, but.
before we vote, last year I got feedback from some residents, especially out on King Road.
Going down the hill.
Michael, some of the tributaries, that it's almost too late in the season.
You know, it won't matter when you do it, because if you do it in June, like late June, by the end of July, they want it again. I mean, it gets that bad.
do we do it once or twice?
We do it
Oh,
once.
One time.
Well, there again, they knew they were buying property on dirt roads.
Yeah, but Parker Road is bad and, you know.
Yeah, because you hear it all through June. I mean, it'll start early June, won't it, Doug? That people are looking for brine, and people on dirt roads, Gordon knows that, some of y'all know that. But I kind of like the fact that we waited a little bit, because it did last, you know, quite a bit into the summer and after Labor Day. So, it didn't?
I actually didn't think that this brine held up at all.
Oh, really?
No,
Okay.
It didn't last at the park very long.
We had quite a few complaints from some folks on Bobbin.
Oh, now you tell me.
Maybe we better pick one of these, huh?
Well, the people, what they do, it was a different, so they just got an attachment on the end that just kind of throws the water out there. Whereas they have a spreader, arms that go out with jets that blow it right down into right down into the gravel.
But Chief, you're saying last year it didn't work out so well?
It just didn't last very long.
Oh, really? Cause I guess I've heard mixed things then, because,
I actually went out and bought a whole truckload of chloride chips, and I kept throwing them out there on the road. Then the
well, other
county
people have done
reported-
that.
And it depends on the concentration of the brine
Well,
too, so
that's-
that
yeah.
makes a difference on the price, so,
Doug,
and how long it lasts as well.
Doug, I forwarded an email to you I think it was this morning. It was the company that you guys do business with, and I thought that they had in their quote, it was a revised quote. I don't remember the name of the company, but they had chloride in there. Haviland, maybe, Haviland?
Oh, might have been
So-
fertilizer sales.
Yeah.
This would probably save a lot of problems if I just did it, but I'm just telling you, the timing that we ended up, you heard a lot of complaints all through June. We got it done, and now Chief is complaining after the fact, so.
We'll have complaints no matter what, unless
It
we
doesn't really
unless we have a
matter.
rainy
I was
season.
just really
Well,
happy that
so-
it got done.
So Nate, are we back to low bidder now?
Well, it would save a lot of time and trouble if we just told the county we wanna go with,
Low bidder. I make a motion, we go with the low bidder. And give the supervisor whatever authority he needs to make it so.
Okay, there's a motion, is there support?
I support.
All in favor, opposed?
You suggested it.
Well, I think it might be the best, cause you get it done early, and the problem is, I really do think we have to look at some of these roads twice a year.
Yeah.
Michael and Wobbin Road,
Park.
Bobbin.
So are you saying if we do it with the county, then it gets done earlier?
It gets
When we
done
went on
early,
our
yeah.
own, we did it later.
You're
And maybe
right.
that's what Travis was talking about, us waiting was good. I don't remember what his conversation was.
How much are we talking about each time?
I was thinking 25,000 last year, is it that much?
wait, that's, for some reason, I might be close.
Because you couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, I couldn't
and
find
it was
anybody.
really expensive.
That's
I
what,
remember
that's just
25 grand.
the price that popped in my head when we were thinking about that we were talking about, it was around the 25 grand.
not cheap, and
No,
again,
it's
it's,
not.
you know,
Too bad we don't have a pickle factory around here.
you know.
Use their brine. It's not like Dill pickles, but cheaper.
Okay, I'll proceed with the dust control. Poverty guidelines.
All right.
Bobby went over this, and she has picked it apart like Jeffrey Feiger.
Oh, jeez.
You really have,
not.
haven't you? You said,
Oh,
this
you
is
can go on
illegal.
TV?
This is illegal.
Well, if I had my druthers and had more time, I would have a new draft for you, but for this year, this is gonna work. And we're just gonna have to cross some things out. So the state basically has taken away, Board of Review used to have a lot of discretion in, giving out tax relief for poverty. They now have zero discretion. Basically, the board, we are the people who set the guidelines, and we need better checklists than what we have in here. Probably a little more definition, because there is absolutely no discretion by the Board of Review. The supervisor has no say. We took that out last year. That was last year's change. The supervisor used to be able to supersede and do what he wanted, not allowed. So I went through
Can I ask, why is that? Why did they do that?
It's too, they're trying to make it less,
Subjective?
yeah, less subjective and more about the black and white, about.
Yeah. So
See,
there's
there is,
parameters.
what is the provision we talked about? Bobby and I went to board review training last week, was it?
Last week, yeah.
And, they changed things so you can make it 100%, 50%, or 25%, but you have to go through,
We have to have
that process.
parameters for all of those. And so I have an attorney on my Board of Review in Otsego who is working on a policy who I believe he'll let us use, for next year. But he was the one who alerted me. He's like, there's a lot of changes, you might wanna go for your board because the board is who is deciding it now. It's not really like the assessor hands over a packet and says, hey, here.
Well, you're the one with the experience, what would
Yeah.
you like to do?
So right now, I'd like to just cross some things out in this one Mike has, and then we adopt this, and then next year we'll have a brand new one. That I'll get to you guys to review, that'll be a lot stricter. And I don't know how strict you all wanna be, but the one that we're writing right now is going kinda strict.
On the
We
front
don't need to
page,
do that now, do we?
So why don't we
No.
just cross out,
Right now,
we're gonna
yep.
go page by page and just cross out what you want?
Yep.
Okay,
So
let's do
first
it.
page, there is a sentence in the middle that says, all information supplied will be kept confidential. That is not true. It is subject to FOIA, so when you do this, you're putting it out there.
Okay.
The application looks good, oh, except for on page 4, we have to change the years. In the income, it should be 20 and 21. Right now it says 19 and 20.
Wait.
Page 4, second box, set of boxes.
Okay.
Alright, then all the way to page 6. In the first paragraph, towards the bottom, before the last sentence, it says, and reserves the right to make individual considerations within their authority as they feel necessary. They can't do that.
Gone.
Gone.
Gotcha.
Then page 7, the last sentence, starting with and any other such evidence as they feel appropriate in making their decisions. In general, however, these guidelines shall assist the Board of Review. The guidelines don't assist, they're it, so we just cross
Is what
that
it
out.
is.
And are these figures correct?
Yeah, those
Yes.
are all updated
Yep.
figures.
Those are
This is
updated.
2022.
Awful low.
So,
Ooh.
yeah.
You
So
can't live
these
on
are for
13,000 a year.
100%, the figures that are in there. So then I added a sentence that said Tuscarora Township will only award an exemption at the 100% level. No guidelines have been established for 50% or 25% exemptions.
What does that mean?
So the state came, before you could, people could bring things in.
Arbitrarily.
Yeah, they could say, I'm gonna give you a 66% reduction because of what I see here. Board of Review had the sole discretion to look at what you brought them and decide how poor they thought you were, how much they thought you could
So
pay.
we can't help our citizens who we know
Yes,
need help?
yes,
Yes.
Oh, you
yes.
said 100%, right?
100%, so down the road, we will establish, so right now, we can give 100% exemption, which is generally what we give. I've never seen them give an odd, maybe once or
Maybe
twice.
once or twice, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Um,
alright.
But then we will establish down the road, the state says you can't just pick a number now. You can do 100, you can establish guidelines for 50%, and you can establish guidelines
And
for
what's the
25%.
best for our folks? That
A
need help?
100 is what
Okay.
they're going for, but
got
we
it.
will next year establish 50 and 25% so that it's an option for the Board of Review.
For the board, okay.
Yes, to give them.
So
But
they
again,
will
there'll
have a
be
little
guidelines.
discretion.
They won't, we can't use that word, they won't have any discretion. They'll have guidelines that, are parameters, that if the people meet those parameters, then they can grant it.
Well, I just can't imagine a single person trying to live on 13,500.
But you would be so surprised that, I mean, I know it,
How do you do
Yeah.
that?
And then they have the assets, so then the next thing is your asset test, page 8.
Well, that probably is.
We're getting rid of summary because the summary, again, says that the board has discretion and they don't.
so we need to vote on on that draft, and then also the figures, the poverty guideline, the numbers, which are 48 contiguous states and the District of Columbia.
This was established at the federal level then?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. So there's no discretion there then.
no.
I don't know, I'm not throwing a monkey wrench in here. I think we're allowed to raise it, can't lower it. Did you ever hear that? Or did I just make that up? Did I dream that? Yeah,
You can't lower, yes,
you can't lower it, but you can raise it.
yes.
Raise what?
The
These
poverty
numbers.
guideline?
Well, I gotta tell you, that's not fair. That amount of money is so low. And I don't know what the magic number is. I got people in my neighborhood, I don't, ooh.
So, wait, so if you raise it though, if you raise those rates, then it takes.
So they could make,
You know, instead of
more than
13,590, went to
you can make,
14,000.
yeah, you can make 15 or 16,000 and still qualify. So, I don't know how we would arbitrarily change
I
numbers
just think
right
this is
now.
a
I have
thinking
a
point.
suggestion.
Thinking
Yeah.
point, yeah.
We know that the recent inflation rate is 9.7, or whatever that is, the CPI, or 6.
3.3.
This is all established with that,
3.3 is the
the difference from last year, do you have the difference from last year, or is that in, no, that's in there.
But inflation's running so rampant now, it's outdated.
Well, this is what the guidelines are. I would, again, maybe I would draw that last statement. I would just leave it the way it is. We know we got something to think about for next year. Because sometimes it troubles me when someone comes in and they're right on the line.
Well, hang on, I'm not fighting you, I'm just saying, inflation is out of control. And people need help now, not next year. If there's anything that you can do, even if it's the next meeting.
We've
can
had
you do-
one call, we've had one person.
No, that's one person.
We generally get about, 5, 6, somewhere in there.
Grant usually.
Could this be changed later if you come up with a magic number?
No, because the board of review, I don't know, can we, it can't.
Not,
'cause once
not
you-
for
once
this
you-
year, we're establishing it, the board of review's gonna start next Tuesday,
Yeah.
so.
Oh,
The problem with this too is that once you vote on it, that you can't vote again on it. Somebody can't come back.
I got
So
it.
you,
Yeah,
yeah,
So you have to have it before next week.
yes.
I don't think we should mess with it.
I don't either, but I just think it's something, a good thinking
I
point.
think we need to do some research on it for next year
Yeah.
and see what we
Yeah.
can do to adjust it to, the cost of living is actual in this, community.
And besides, next year we'll have our master plan, so
Can
we'll
we
have a
round
better
it up?
idea of what incomes are, right?
To the,
Every little bit, 14, 19,
A lot
would say-
higher now. That's from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Income is higher.
see what I'm
than today,
saying,
though.
Bobby?
Most of our,
Every little bit helps somebody.
are widows. With either social,
So
all
the
social
average
security.
income in 2012 was 26,000 per capita. The average per household income for Tuscarora, we're the highest in the county,
Yeah,
was 54,000.
right.
So I'm sure it's gonna change again.
I just
Lower.
submitted an application today, and the median household income in Tuscarora Township is 48,700.
So it's come down to, it
Yes,
was
sir.
54,000 back in 2010.
Yes. Because I had to fill out that darn application.
Well, I make a
Yeah.
motion that we accept it the way it is, and we do some research on it and see what we can do
We
for
can't
next
do
year,
anything
cause you
by
have to
Tuesday.
have that for the board of reviews and stuff, so, make a
Yeah.
motion.
I think so far, Bob, people have, it's been okay, we haven't ever had any
Okay.
issues, and we've always used
Okay.
these numbers, so hopefully the feds adjusted accordingly. And like I said, the one
I trust
woman
the
who's
feds.
come in, I went over paperwork with her and she's gonna fit,
Qualifies.
yeah, she'll be okay, so,
I was
Alright,
trying
I'll
to get a
second.
little leave.
yeah.
Jan has a motion and
I'll
Don,
second.
the seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Fireworks contract. Great Lakes Fireworks sent us a notice that our, show, or their costs have gone up 30%. We usually have a $10,000 show, that's what we budget for. Is, we were gonna go to the DDA and ask them to fill in the 3,000. The Tourist Bureau stepped up and gave us 3,000 plus 2,000 more and said, we'd like that $15,000 show. So kudos to them. The,
Get them that money in 3 years.
the show is $15,000 and what does that say? Does that say
DVD,
Yeah,
TBD?
'cause I used to complain
No,
so-
what does that say right there?
alternate dates.
No, the one on the left.
7/2/22.
I,
That's the display date, and then the alternate date is to be determined.
boy, I'll tell you what.
I don't like that.
No.
I
Now,
thought,
that
I thought it
alternate
was
date to be-
Sunday.
It could be, excuse me, it could be January 30th or all that.
I thought we picked dates.
I thought we did too.
We
That
always
was,
did.
The second and the fifth, I thought.
We did, we always pick our dates, so,
Where's my calendar?
So
I
this-
thought that,
that-
they had told me the 3rd.
normally it's the day after.
I thought we went, yeah, we're in the
So
second and the
what does the
fifth.
contract say?
The week is the fourth. Was the second.
I had down the
The
second,
second
it
sounds
looks like
right.
the 3rd.
Late 90s,
Cause
that
that's
was-
a
Third.
Saturday. thought we
See,
were
I had
doing a
second
Saturday.
down and I talked to Bruce, we crossed that out and put down the 3rd. I don't know why, and that's the rain date is the 5th.
Oh,
Okay.
that's,
Well, let's just change that on the contract and
Well-
see what happens.
Anybody know what the shops have off this year?
I don't know.
what about July 2nd and,
And then the 5th was gonna be our rain day.
and why not the 3rd for the rain date?
Probably they have shows.
Because it was a Sunday? Was
Well,
that
let's, I'll tell you what, let's approve, right here, let's approve the contract for 15 and try and work out the dates, cause we still got a little wiggle room in there.
it? Okay,
Let me get, cause I had him down for the 2nd, and then I talked to him, and then for some reason it changed to the 3rd. Our makeup date has always been
The fifth.
the 5th, so I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever had a makeup date?
No, I think I think 3rd's great.
see, if we do it on the 4th, it costs us more money.
Yeah, I know that.
So if we do it the day before and then the day after that,
What do you woodpecker?
Yeah.
Let me just work that out and I'll
Have you
send
ever
out.
had to use a rain date?
No, we never
Yes,
have.
I think so.
One year, a couple
It was
years
late.
ago, Bob, they showed up late. They didn't get the show going till almost 11:30 at night.
I remember.
And that's when we used to have like a $7,000 show, and they made up for it by giving us a $10,000 show for $7,000.
So,
And
so do these guys that are.
Oh, that's the
budgeting,
year
they
that-
Yep.
know that we're
When-
getting
that's the
probably
year
the
that-
same show we've had.
no, it's a $13,000 show if it would be the past. They want a 15,000. I asked Bruce about that.
we're getting more.
Oh,
We're getting
so,
more.
okay.
Okay.
We're getting a better show.
What's your preference, Chief?
Well, I was just gonna point out the 3rd is on Sunday.
Yep.
We've never shot the fireworks off on Sunday.
Never have.
Okay, let me call him. Let me. It says second there. Let's.
And what's wrong with Sunday night?
It's all over northern Michigan. There'll be fireworks.
What, on Sunday night?
Well, has there been, did we have some, discussion with some of the restaurant and bar owners about Saturday night? Having,
They used to not,
they didn't like it, us having it on Saturday nights.
because it took away from
It
us.
took
I
away
think
from
the
their
dogs of
business.
the community would rather have it on Sunday.
What's that?
think the dogs of the community would rather have it on Sunday,
Well, what's,
cause it'll start on Saturday, it'll be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and
I would prefer Sunday because people are traveling Saturday to come up here and then they get tired, you know. They wanna relax and take it easy, go to their favorite restaurant.
I'm good with any of the days.
Okay, we're good, we're good, we don't make up date as a fifth, so you guys are good with the second or the third?
I'm good with
Yeah.
the third.
The fourth is Monday.
I like
Fourth
the
is
third.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, I like it on the third, and a
I
rain
love
date
it on
on
the third.
on the fifth. I like that.
Don't you have a parade on that Saturday, or is that,
No, it's on Monday the
Fourth
fourth,
of July.
Monday the fourth.
It's on the fourth.
does that affect you?
Right?
Yeah, because you gotta parade the next day.
Well, that was one of the reasons why we didn't, some about
didn't
the
have a
firemen
parade
or
on
something.
Well, that was when they were
Yeah.
on shore,
Yeah,
and then they had
because
to
we
be
had the
there
firemen,
until
then they had, all night long,
midnight, and then get up the
and then
next
get up and
morning.
do the parade, so we gave them a break there
Right,
in between, plus it costs us more to do
but
it.
this way, even if it's on the third, if it's out on the barges, and they don't have to be all dressed up in,
Yeah,
gear,
Yeah, exactly.
so.
I'd like to see it on the third, I think it'd be awesome.
If we can get it on the third, I think that'd be good.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we spend the money that.
Okay, Don makes a motion,
That was
is there support?
On the third.
Okay,
Fourth.
Bobby supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Work your magic, try to get it on the third.
Okay, thank you guys. And thank the tourist bureau too, though.
Oh,
there's
yes, that's obvious.
6 members there.
I'll have to send them a note.
Engineering contract,
Okay.
this is from Andy Granskog, which gives us a number. You have a
No, I'm sure
uh,
we'll pass it.
document from the second page.
Okay.
He has concluded that's a reasonable price.
Yeah.
The engineering contract is, so how many pages is that? 60 pages?
69 pages.
How many?
69 pages.
69 pages.
Yeah.
So this kind of sums it up. Our general counsel has looked it over.
And you may all recall that I sent you the notes from my conversation with the
Yep.
state engineer.
Generally, I'm against so big contracts.
So
This
am
would
I.
be a so big contract if we do this. There's good things and bad things, and we need to discuss it, I think. Normally, it's a lot of money. Normally, it would go out for bid with no question. On the other hand, and you can chime in any time you want, if we put this out for bid, it's gonna delay the project. Prices are going up hugely. The longer we wait, the more the prices go up. The harder it is to get to the contractors and get it to that point.
What did we determine? 6-month delay,
Probably a 6-month delay.
at least.
Yes. In addition to that, Aaron Norman of PR has done exceptional work, getting all our applications for grants and loans and everything. And every time you go out for a grant application, they want the same stuff, but they want it in a different manner, you know? So he has to rework his engineering reports every time we go out for an application to make sure that he's meeting their requirements, okay? It's the same information, they just want it in different format. So it's a lot of work that he's been doing for nothing, absolutely nothing.
Having said that, I too am generally opposed to sole source contracts, but I also favor best value contracts, because we did a lot of that in my former life. And what I see here is we've done our due diligence. We know, I know, that after talking to Smith, Granskog, and even the state director, you know, we have to go get a bid from a downstate firm that even if they lowball us, we're gonna get hit with these change orders. All these people gotta come up, we're gonna pay for all their travel, we're gonna pay for all their lodging, all their per diem. This guy's local, Charlotte, he's local, and it's family run, so. The other thing, that I think gives us best value is if you read that document that Mike pointed out, is that, that they have been keeping a database at USDA for 20 years. And, Andy claims we won't find anybody cheap, period. He's told us.
Yeah.
So, you know, after talking to Aaron, talking to Andy, talking to, Blake, talking to, once to the state director, I think I even talked to the financial advisor about that once. I just don't think we'll find anything cheaper anyway.
I'm concerned about the time lag, because I know that we're on a time schedule, you wanna get the headworks and some of the work up there going during the winter. I don't like the idea of, so I like the idea of getting this done sooner the better.
Here's another issue that I didn't point out before. We hire a new person. They may change the entire design.
That's my concern.
We have no idea how much longer that could take. Oh, I don't wanna do a hybrid system. I wanna do a vacuum, 100% vacuum system. It could be a year.
Yeah.
Now, if I thought for 1 minute I could get it cheaper elsewhere, significantly cheaper, I would be recommending to you that we go out for bids. I can't do that here.
In addition to that, if I thought for 1 minute that we were going to have problems with him like in previous engineering companies,
Yeah.
I would be saying, go out for bid. He has been so accommodating and helped us out, even through the time that he and his family had COVID. He was still working on some of these applications and getting his reports done for us.
From his house.
From his house. So it's a small company. It's in Charlotte. I think there was, what, 3 people in this
3
firm?
principals.
Yeah. So, and I like that idea that we're supporting local.
And we're dealing with the owner.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the owner that we've been dealing with. So those are the pros and cons of, and the timeline is the biggest thing, Mike. That's, you know, I started with the timeline thing.
Timeline and redesign.
Yes, those are the 2 biggest things. I am normally against sole bid contracts. I say, I don't care if it's over $1,000, let's put it out for bid, you know. But in this case, I don't think it benefits the community to put it out for bid. And it makes me squirm to say that
Yeah.
because,
And the delay would jeopardize
the
our
project.
possible $1.5 million grant. Because that has a time element.
We've
I
done
know.
business with these guys in the past.
We've been doing it all along.
a lot.
Yeah, all along, this performance, they're one of the preliminary engineering.
Yeah, when Berkeley,
Having spent 30 years in purchasing, I am not against single sourcing. There's lots of reasons to single source. Some of it is performance, a lot of it is timing,
or general expertise, that nobody else has.
expertise, the fact that they're local. I don't have a problem with this. If we know these guys and
Yeah.
they've done work for us in the past and we've been happy
Yeah.
with their performance, I don't have a problem with it.
Bobby, what do you think?
I don't know why, my biggest thing would be, I don't know why we'd start over. I don't have an issue either with a single source. They've got it, they've been doing it. I think we throw a wrench in it if we
That's
change
what I'm
gears at
afraid
this
of.
point.
I'm afraid of throwing a wrench in the project at this point.
Yeah.
And like I said, I am all about RFPs. Throw out a bid, I wanna see everybody compete, I like that idea. But in this case, because we are on a time crunch with some of the grant money, we are, on a time crunch with inflation, you know, and the people want this project getting started as soon as possible, you know, those are all issues that we have taken into account, and so,
Let's make a motion.
You have a motion?
Let's make a motion.
I just want to say one thing. In summary, I just want to summarize this. in summary, I believe that this particular firm gives us the best value to
Value.
the taxpayer
I do.
and the property owner. That sums it up for me, so I'll make the motion that we.
Makes the motion. There's support.
I'll support.
Jan supports. Jan supports. Okay, all in favor? Very good. ARPA funds.
So that authorizes you to sign that document and send it in, Mike.
Bob had made a, did I put your letter in there, Bob?
Yeah,
Bob,
sure.
Oops. This is from the volunteer. Bob, you go ahead, you had made a motion or suggested that we,
Well, I just, we already paid the first responders that we have and our frontline workers. And I didn't propose a tremendous amount of ARPA money. It's just showing that we appreciate everything, like during COVID, going out on the freeway, and then right after that, going to put out that big fire. I did talk to Sarah in detail 3 times.
She's from NIMCOG, right?
No, she's the NEMCOG consultant for ARPA money.
Right, okay.
And it's Sarah's opinion that as long as we're using the $10 million revenue loss, that we could even do it for private companies, and they are an LLC. If we wanted to. But I would just, she also said that even though they serve multiple townships, that's not an issue. Our police department serves wherever they're needed, so that's not an issue. I would just say, I don't wanna have Dawn and everybody writing 18, 20, 25 checks. I asked Sarah if it was okay, could we just send them a bulk check with a letter saying you must provide this for premium pay?
How does contracted services fit into that? Because that's the difference, I think, between the fire department and the police. We have a contract with them, and then they have contract with multiple
Yeah.
other townships. Not like where Gordon does it as a first responder,
Right.
he's not
As a
contracted.
courtesy.
Yeah, I told her, here, in fact,
I guess that would be my concern, is to make sure we've got those bases covered.
It's covered in here, actually. I just got this.
well, before we get there, here's, I had a discussion with Sarah, I had 2 discussions with Sarah. I talked to our auditor, I talked to MTA, both Catherine Mulhop, and they said one of the best ways to handle this is find out what their need is something we can get for them. So Dave sent me that letter. He said with the high rising cost of fuel, insurance, and training, we're finding it harder to replace necessary equipment for our firemen to keep them safe. I was asked to provide a list of a few items that would help our firemen to do their job and keep them safe. Here are a few items. Helmets, 19 at $260 a piece would be $4,940. Gloves at $78 a pair, 19 pair, $1,482. Sarah probably felt the most comfortable with doing something like just
Yeah,
getting.
because here she says, I do not believe LLC to be an issue. Using the above method, it's your government's money now, and I'm sure you do business with other LLCs. And the final ARPA rules allow folks to give dollars to individual residents, businesses, etc. that were adversely impacted.
And the issue is that they have to prove they were adversely impacted. So I just did a webinar, the MTA did a webinar back in January on ARPA. They just updated it, in fact, it was in their magazine, this month's magazine cover story. One of the issues is that they said even though the the federal government gives you broad latitudes, every state has its own laws, and we still have to follow our laws. So we can't donate money to nonprofits or anybody else. It's against Michigan law. No township can. This seems like it's a better way. We can't, I don't think we can give.
We're not donating anything.
No, I didn't feel comfortable, I didn't feel comfortable writing a $5,000 check and go, here, use this. I talked to Dave,
Not
and I
if
said,
you earmark it.
excuse me,
They're not a government.
excuse me, guys. Instead of saying, here's $5,000, use it, that, it gets murky at the other end. It gets murky because what if we do get audited, they wanna know what they do with that $5,000? Well, we had a big party. You know, I think it's easier, if
COVID
he has
pay
any,
isn't party pay.
I think it's easier and cleaner that Dave tells us what he needs, and instead of taking it out of his budget, we get what they need. And that was one of the things from, that was one of the things, I'm gonna rely on you later.
Okay.
But that was one of the things that our auditor and both Catherine Mulhop and Mike, and when I explained to Sarah, I said I was uncomfortable. She didn't have a problem. I understand what she was saying. But I personally think if they have a concrete need, they have a concrete need for something, I'm much more comfortable doing that.
So that's not in their budget?
No, this is not in their budget, but they're running, they have to get these new helmets every so often, and that's coming up. And they have a need for, I believe, 30 helmets, and 19 are on the 19, they said, if you get us 19 gloves.
I can't read it that
That's-
far, what's it say?
It said helmets, 19 helmets at $260 a piece is $4,940. Gloves at 19 pair at $78 a piece, $1,482.
So add those figures, what's that?
That's, who said that?
6380.
6380?
No, 6382.
6382?
That's what I got.
You got it, Jan?
6402 is what.
This recognizes
Well,
these
63.
22.
If this recognizes these volunteers, I'm good with that.
You know, I feel comfortable doing it this way because the prices have gone up because of inflation, because of COVID. And it's been more difficult to order things and get things in. So it shows a need, as far as I'm concerned. It covers that they have been adversely affected. Because Gordon can testify, it's just hard to get equipment, you know, for this kind of stuff right now. And if this will help the fire department and they're happy with it, I have no problem with this. It's not considered a donation.
It's something they need.
It's first responder type.
They don't have to take it out of their budget.
Right, exactly, and it helps them out. I don't have a problem with this. I think I think 6,500, not to exceed
I
6,500.
think the only thing we have to do is take Sarah's advice and send them a letter with the check saying, specifying it has to go for that.
Because those specific items.
Or will we just purchase them? What's,
Order the stuff.
And they send you a bill.
yeah. Well, we can look into the,
We can look at, we'll get
Best
it done one way or the other.
I think we gotta
Logistics of
keep
it?
our hands clean and just.
well, we wanna do whatever best
Yeah.
fits. If paying an
Yeah.
invoice is a better paper trail for,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Our
I'm
folks.
gonna have to have a way to track.
So what was the total?
6422,
So you
is
could
that what
just
we
say,
got, everybody?
Yep.
6422,
you gotta give them the vote.
So not to exceed 6,500?
I'm good with that.
I'm good with it.
That's your motion, Jan?
Yes.
Jan makes a motion to support the fire department's request for new helmets and gloves not to exceed $6,500. Is there support for that?
Us.
Bob supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have two more things to bring up on ARPA pay. The first one is election workers, yes, they
Yes,
are eligible.
Yes, they are.
Second one is Todd Cheney,
Todd Cheney.
worked through up the end of 20, right?
Mhm.
And then he got laid off and he didn't come back, so he does have, he's eligible.
They don't stay any money.
Nope, we'll figure it out, okay.
Well, if you do that, then you gotta take care of Betsy too, I mean, come on.
I think she was during COVID.
Sorry?
I don't think Betsy was
Yeah,
really,
she was.
Yes, she was. And she was
oh
frontline
yeah,
worker.
cause she,
Yeah.
Do we need an, not to exceed on the election workers?
Let us work it out, because we had,
Come
I
back.
just want to bring that,
Yeah.
But I wanna put something in there so when you, I wanna exclude elected officials of that. Cause
You
I
have
was
to.
on that and
You
I,
actually have to.
okay,
What's that?
because I do not want to
Exclude us.
be a part of that.
How much are you
so.
talking about per worker per event?
Well, that's what we need to figure out. There's a cap. So I need to
What do you
take a
mean
look at,
there's
there's a cap.
You
on
gotta
how
look at what
much-
Todd made per
Oh,
hour,
there's the,
Yeah.
and then,
13.
It's like $13 an hour, so
Yeah.
I have to look at how many hours did they work. I mean, you couldn't say, we're gonna give them $500 an hour, 10 hours.
I was saying more like 50.
yeah.
Well,
so
I'm
is
just
there
saying we need
anybody
to
else
look
we're
at-
missing while we're making this motion, since we keep finding people.
I know.
If they're not presently employed, I don't,
Well, Betsy's not employed here.
Nor is
I wouldn't do that.
But Todd left at the end of the, he just didn't get hired back.
Correct.
He didn't voluntarily leave, he just didn't get hired back, right?
Yes,
He left when?
He left at the end of 20, right?
right, he was done in October 20.
And that's when you shut down for the season, right? So,
Yeah.
Are you feeling like you would like him to be paid, Doug?
we did the same thing for Alice.
Yeah, I mean, he was entitled to it, he was here working, I mean.
Alice, because when we had the extra worker, we said, Alice, we don't need you anymore. We still paid Alice.
You pay this person, you're gonna have to pay this.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta treat everybody the same.
Although,
Which I think,
Anybody else we
go
missed?
with Joe because Joe quit.
yeah, I think that's a different, I think that's a different,
Betsy left of her own accord, I mean, she did give you notice. Joe just walked off the job, if you wanna use that as your difference, but
Okay, so what you're saying is the justification is through no fault of his own, we didn't hire him back.
correct.
Okay, I'm okay with that. How about you? How much?
She's gotta figure it out.
we gotta figure it out.
Yeah, you gotta figure out what is paid and
Well, can we put a not to exceed?
You can do a not to
I-
exceed.
Well, come back,
What do you think,
why
Dawn?
don't you come back to us with the prices that you get, and then we can look at it.
Approve it
Yeah,
next
we'll
month.
take a look.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
let's do that.
So we have the right figures.
Let Tom figure it out.
Tell Jane for me that election workers just changed.
I've already
month.
emailed her.
Okay?
Okay, is there any more discussion about, ARPA funds?
The only thing I do wanna point out is that we were talking about using ARPA money for some sewer stuff, but I put it in this $1.5 million grant, so, but saves us ARPA money.
If we get that grant.
And also, I wanna make you aware, I don't know if you were able to read it or not, but in the governor's budget, according to Sarah McCauley, there is this, huge amount of money for small communities, and they will, using state ARPA money, they give us 80%. We only have to put in 20%, but it has to be multi-jurisdictional. Well, we've already made a proposal to the county, so, that would just stretch the money.
Hugely, oh my gosh,
Hugely. I
that'd be
mean,
like,
the park's 5-year plan, wow. So, I've talked to Steve Warfield about it, he's put together a meeting with, Mr. Wallace and some of us, and, Sarah McCauley says it will pass. That portion of the
it's got
Whitmer's
bipartisan.
budget has bipartisan support. I just making you aware.
So there might be some extra money towards, projects that we propose to the county available. I mean, if the state picks up, approximately 80% of that, that would be a
And how cool would it be to
huge,
get like the motorized, non-motorized bike, whatever,
yeah, like bike paths and stuff
or
like
the
that,
park
so.
fixed, or, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, so we'll see where that goes, but that's just in the works right now, so.
And that, if that budget passes in July, it will be effective from October.
Yep.
That was from Dave.
Okay.
19, real estate. Let's have that discussion because Bobby and I were dealing with a pretty, attractive,
Yeah.
we wouldn't sign a, leery about signing a right of first refusal because he didn't want it known he was coming to town. You and I, we talked about it. I talked to him yesterday, he wanted it taken off the table. He says, I don't want it to string you guys out because it may not happen with us for a year.
Oh.
So,
Well, that's good to know.
Well, it
Thank you
is.
for that.
yeah, I thank you for his candor and I keep on keeping on. But, I know that you're anxious to see the property move.
Well, we voted on it and we awarded the
Well-
contracts.
Well, here's, I guess what I'm afraid of. I don't wanna see people come in and snatch up valuable Commerce Park property and construct pole barns for storing their stuff. And I say that cautiously, because you can't say to one person, I don't wanna see a $40,000 or $50,000 pole building, and yet we talked to another gentleman who's talking about $200,000 pole buildings. I mean, so, once it's up for sale, it's up for sale, but I don't think that's fair to the realtors. That,
So I talked to Billy several times this week, and he was, he's been part of this property since the establishment of it. And so he kind of understands the longevity of the sales process with it. So he's a little leery of listing. He likes the idea of the project and being involved in it, but he's a little leery of the listing because of that fact that usually a regular real estate transaction, you list a property at a competitive price to sell it within the shortest amount of time possible. That's not necessarily the goal of the township, because right now, like Mike said, we have two really great potential individuals looking at the property for things that would enhance our community in a fabulous way. And they have to work through that process. So to list it at a competitive price and just sell it to have it sold doesn't really benefit the community.
So we have an offer on the table?
We do not have an offer on the table.
Well, it's been 60 days. How long is this gonna go on?
Like Mike said, they're looking at a year. You're not gonna put up a $3 million project overnight, and you're not gonna commit to something when you start looking at a property and talking to us about REUs and all of those things that will play a part to make it a viable business.
So we're gonna wait on woulda, coulda, shoulda?
No,
well, no, because if those lots have been for sale all this time and they're still sitting there.
Well, they haven't been marketed.
Well,
Sue's has.
yes,
Billy's-
Sue has one of the best
And
lots out there.
according to Billy's people, the price point wasn't there.
Well, there's 5 people who have to make a decision.
We already made a decision. We voted in January to let these contracts, they've complied. We said this firm was gonna get the front lots, this firm's gonna get the back lot, so.
But we didn't talk about price or any of that. We talked about talking to these folks about listing them. So now we're at that point where Mike has talked to them, I think you have, I've talked to Billy, and looking at the dynamics of how to list them, how to market them, how to best suit our community and look at the growth in the
But you
future.
can't control who gets it.
To a certain extent.
If you look at the original deed restrictions, Bob, have you been over those deed restrictions? You can and I know back, it was 2008 or 9, former trustee Craig Walder and I called a commercial realtor and talked about this. And at that time, remember, at that time it was terrible, nothing was moving. But I remember having a discussion about what they wanted, and this is going back to Eric and a lot of people in the past, the idea that was gonna be a business park. And even the way that everything is set up about the doors facing a certain way, shrubbery, I think, and then we even tried to get a certified business park and they turned it down because of Sturgill.
But nobody does industrial parks anymore, we all know that.
Yeah, that's not, well, somebody's gotta be doing them because they're giving out grants to certified business parks. I've seen them,
That's true.
yeah. I've seen
So
'em.
we gonna wait another year, another 2 years, another
Well,
3 years?
what is your
How many
thought?
years
Are
has
you
this been going on?
Is your sticking point the price of the lots, is that?
No, my sticking point is, this building needs work. Inside, outside. We have land, we're not getting any return on it. We're not getting any property value out of it. And we're in a bubble. This bubble is not gonna last forever. You have an opportunity to sell this property at a substantial rate. And I think we should take advantage of that.
Bob, I would disagree. Residential, yes, commercial, no.
So,
There's a big difference in those two markets.
so the guy that I talked to that works for Billy was wrong.
You're talking about Zach?
Yeah,
Zach sold a lot of commercial this year?
is is it for sale? I haven't seen it on MLS.
Is what?
I haven't seen anything
Okay.
on MLS.
But that's what I'm saying, so he's got comps and
I think we put that in this plan. didn't we?
of things that they've sold. Cause I saw that in the other one from Carpenter Ellis, but not, I mean, commercial, you can look at the stats in the computer, and commercial market is not the residential market, so we're not in.
I would be in favor of telling whoever you have that's been interested in this for months, it's time. You know, you need to come forward or stop.
You know, Bob, here's my thoughts too. If we're gonna put a price point that kind of is a fire sale on our lots up there,
Who said anything about that?
I mean, I'm telling you, if they were priced,
Basketball.
if they were priced, like everything else is going, I can't see them flying out of here, I can't see them moving. I see if they,
Well,
if
here
they
we
come.
are, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
No, I see them selling at a competitive price, and I'm telling you, if we're gonna sell them at a competitive price, I'd rather call that buyer that told me last night, that potential buyer, I have a deal for you. Because that brings jobs, that
So
brings
where's the deal?
well, I'm just telling you, if,
Well, for sure, I'd wanna exclude them from the sale. If
Oh.
we have people
Yeah.
So Bob, you wanna see them sold,
from the
what,
listing.
what benefit? What are our dollar figures, what are those gonna be used for, what's the tax base it brings?
You tell us.
Well, I think I know, it's not much. It's not enough in my mind, it's not enough to say, let's get rid of everything Tuscarora owns, and then in the future, when we have something fabulous come along, hope you can get it from somebody else.
What has fabulously
have-
come along in the last 5 years? Zero.
But you never know, Bob.
yeah,
I mean,
fabulous, I'd say,
Yeah.
the medical center, and I'd say the VA clinic, I'd say, right
No,
now,
I'm talking about Township.
we're gonna have a,
well, the ambulance building,
I'm
Restaurant,
talking
ambulance.
about the Township.
what do you mean? No,
No,
Our
the Township
properties?
property. Yeah.
nothing, because they haven't sold, but if we liquidate everything that we have, so right now, like Mike said, we could go to this potential buyer and we could say, you're gonna bring 25 jobs, your building's $3 million, which would be a significant tax base, we'll give it to you for 50 grand. We have that ability and that leverage because we own the property. We don't have that leverage throughout that whole park because some of those people bought those lots. They wanna make a lot of money, so they have them high priced, so they sit. So why would we get rid of the ones we still have control of, just to get rid of them?
Then why did we vote in January in the first place? Why didn't all this come up in January?
I wasn't here at that.
And why didn't it come up in February?
I didn't know if we had buyers
And how much
that
money?
were interested.
Well, we don't have any buyers. I don't see an offer. How much money did they say those 6 lots were, 5 lots were worth?
They,
A
when I talked to,
substantial amount.
it was like 200,000 for the front, something like that, and 100,000 for the back.
Sheet in the other room.
170 for the back, maybe.
Dave's got these at 39.5, 19.9.
Is that the back?
Yeah, these are the back three.
I mean,
And
I just don't wanna
24.9.
keep going on forever, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Bring us an offer. Bring us an offer. Don't string us out for a year, because, hey, what's gonna happen in a year? Oh, well, the economy turned, I'm sorry, we'll see you later.
So they're for sale now technically,
And
and if someone came and said, how much, you'd have to give them a fair market price, assess, and they could buy it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
right,
Right,
but we have and how this has historically been, is they're priced a little higher. They're priced on the high end, and then when someone comes in, we can talk to them about how many jobs they're bringing, what
So
the
price them
building
on
is,
the high end.
and then we can negotiate down.
So price them on the high end.
But technically,
But
you
Billy
can't
doesn't
say,
wanna
as
do
long as
that.
they meet
Well,
all
then
the
he can
deed
withdraw.
restrictions.
that's the sticking point now, that's the sticking point, Ken,
Yeah.
because it puts, we're looking at what we have up there. And like I said, if somebody comes in and God bless anybody that wants to go make money, you know, building pole buildings and sell them, because I think that's great, we need them.
Right.
But if you have an opportunity for a business to come in that employs people and really enhances the tax base, it has very little to do with how much we're selling that property for, and more for the long-term benefit. I'm thinking that sometime, somewhere down the road, we're going to want some property, because I can tell you this, and I just sent this off to Scott, I hear rumors of real estate almost every day. Almost every day in that office, somebody will call something about real estate, and it's a lot of rumors about commercial, and it hasn't taken off yet, but, you know, so I guess I'm just optimistic that somebody's gonna come up there. I'll give you an example, it was a few weeks ago, I was talking to a realtor who had just sold a piece in town here, and he said, I see your name's on the short list, and I said, for what? He goes, I think I told you this too. Yeah, for another company coming to Indian River.
Yeah.
And they're all they are is rumors, but it's enough to keep me thinking there's something gonna happen. I really feel that way about with the VA clinic coming in, those parcels. Like, I think Bob's right about that. Once that VA clinic's in there, there's gonna be a lot of people that wanna come in.
If they're marketed right, they'll already know that it's coming. Groundbreaking's in April, by the way.
My point is, okay, someone says, I want those 4 lots. How much are they? You give them a price. Whatever the price is, you give them the price. As long as they meet whatever deed restriction, you cannot deny him that sale. That's my point. So if we're trying to hang on to it.
You're right. I understand you there, but once we.
You can price point it high enough
if
so
we-
that
You have to have it at fair market value
If
though.
we do that, we can't do that to the realtors. If you're, and here's where you and I may have I don't know. We can't tell a realtor, bring us your buyer, we'll see if he's adequate for what we see, and
Ah, it's against
that's
the law.
really difficult.
That's
That's-
against the law, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact.
So once we say they're for sale, this is the price point. I guess I'm kinda anxious to hear if anybody wants me to reapproach this guy and say,
I like
Yeah.
to.
say, you might
Who's
know.
the other guy? Is that the pole?
Yeah, the guy had real nice, it was a real nice layout for,
Yeah, but you said you didn't want pole barns.
you used to see these, I wouldn't call these pole barns.
Yeah, they're not storage and they're not, so the
What
other
are they?
person that wanted to do pole barns would have to subdivide, and that's not legal, and just storage where you would take your stuff. These are more, I don't wanna say a man cave, but, and
Kinda like
Sounds
the
like the
airport
airport.
hangars,
like
basically.
an
Is that the
association
airport?
of,
The
yeah.
airport?
It's-
Lofts,
Barns and
16-foot doors,
So give them a right of first refusal.
Small businesses
small
go
business
into
could move in
them,
there.
and at a lesser cost than owning their own,
Give them a right of
storefront
first
that's not
refusal.
So you're talking about pole barns that are kinda like the airport hangar type things, where
No,
they
they're
really,
No.
complexes, they're more like a complex.
Yeah,
okay.
they're pretty fancy.
They're gonna have bathrooms in them or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna
So,
make them into homes or something?
no,
Well,
No, business-
we
that's
talked
my
about
concern.
that.
My concern, no.
Well,
So give them a right of first refusal, let's get on with it.
Here, Billy won't take a listing with the right of first refusal, because again, and that's where kind of my conversation with Billy went was, he doesn't wanna price them high, because it's a waste of marketing dollars, it's a waste of their time for them. If there's a right of first refusal, you're basically marketing, again, something that's not necessarily sellable.
Alright, so
And-
how about giving this guy a certain amount of time?
Well, and that's what Billy's saying, why don't we not do a listing right now, see where this goes, because you're not gonna force a business that's looking at a plan and that's a viable business to just jump.
But they've been looking at these for a while, right?
Well, it's been a month or so.
about a month.
Okay,
So,
so,
anyway.
so what I'm getting at, okay, if you guys think that sitting on this property for another, 6 months, and let these people decide for one way or another, maybe 3 months, 90 days, whatever, give them some time. They've been for sale, 15 years? I mean, we don't have to hurry up and get it done, but I don't think we should linger for a year or two and figure out whether they want it or not.
Give them
But-
60 days and make it clear to them.
60, 90 days, whatever, that way they can look at it in the springtime, see if they want it, you know,
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with season. They're trying to put together a viable business plan.
business
and
plan.
That, I
Okay.
mean, I as a business person, and any business person I know that's successful doesn't jump like that.
Right,
It's
so
not-
that's what I'm saying, if
we're
they
not gonna
want some time,
pressure
I
'em.
don't see a problem giving them some time, but it has to be reasonable so we can act too.
Well, we can act if we want. That's the thing, you guys, is we don't have, I mean, you could say, no, we just wanna list these and sell them. Or my personal feelings is to wait, to not jump into and try and sell them. And again, I personally wouldn't be opposed if we still owned these properties in 5 years, because it's township land that could be used in the future, and land is such a rare commodity that why would we just get rid of it when we can try to control and structure our future and save some.
Are we gonna get
It's
sued
all
if we
done.
start
No.
picking and choosing?
No, that's not what we're doing. We're not saying,
Well, that's what
we're
I
not
heard.
getting an offer and saying, absolutely not, we don't like you, we don't want this. No.
That's what I heard.
So it's zoned in, it's all
It's,
zoned
there's,
industrial,
we're
right?
talking with people, we're working
Light
with business
industrial.
people. We're not getting offers, we're working with business people, and they're saying, is this right for our business, is this right for your community? That's anything we've ever done up there has been in that capacity. Once we put it here into a listing agent, it's Billy marketing it, or Dave marketing it, or Zach marketing it, and then that offer comes and we accept or deny based on price and
Well, what's your vision for the back lots then?
who knows? I don't know.
Oh, come on.
Well, I gotta tell you,
Business.
we went and looked at it the other day I looked at with the one fellow that was, we've started so many rumors tonight, haven't we? I just, I've seen them.
Well, good, maybe it'll drum up some interest.
Yeah, that we went out and looked at that, and one of them, I really have questions about what we're gonna hang on to it for, that one that has the pipeline running through it, because you really, it's so chopped up, there's a piece that's hard to use.
You talking about Enbridge?
Yeah, and there's actually 2 pipelines there.
Well, you know, speaking of that, the VA clinics got a little delay because they got to ship to the east because of that pipeline.
Well, I think the question is are we gonna go ahead,
Well, finish your thought about the back lot.
the back lot, we were out there looking at it, and I'm thinking, I would love it if he bought that, because I think he could structure what he wants out there. You know, and
How many back lots are there?
3, one of them's kinda chopped up,
Is this guy talking about buying all 3 or just one?
3.
Oh, well, so right now,
I guess, you know what, I guess, it kinda gets to the core of what we're discussing too. We see something that comes in where they wanna buy the 4 lots, they wanna buy the 3 lots. And I think once we sell off 1 lot, we've kinda shot that in the foot, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to wait to see what happens after the clinic is built, because I think the clinic's gonna draw
Well, that's a year.
something.
That long.
It's gonna draw something.
That's a year. People will know about the VA clinic if they already don't.
Yeah,
If they're business
When you
people,
see
they
it.
should know.
when you see it.
If they're looking at having a business plan out that way, they should know.
Can we just put this on the table and then reevaluate it in maybe 90 days or 6 months and whatever, and then make a final decision on what we're going to do on that?
90 days because of the selling.
6 months, I wanna say, 6 months. I wanna wait and see what happens when that clinic starts going up. I think
I mean, they've been for sale for 15 years now. Waiting a few months, it's not gonna make that much of a difference.
Well, let's revisit it in 90 days and then
Let's
see if it does.
revisit it in 90
Let's revisit it in 90 days, and then we'll talk.
I
and see
like
what's happening.
when we table something to actually have a date that we look at it again, so that would be good, and,
And I would ask you to let your prospects know, hey, you got another 90 days.
I think Mike kinda has, I mean, they know, everybody's talked about this, so.
I mean, I like the options of being able to sell a bulk amount of lots at a time.
But
That's
no
a
other
good thing,
interest
and
in the
bringing,
front lots?
and bringing in, businesses
Yes.
that support the
Yes.
township. I appreciate that, but, know, we have to be, you know, looking to the future too, and, we have to decide what we're gonna do with things. I mean, how long are we gonna hang on to things just on a what if, like Bob was saying? So there's this give and take, and I think we need to revisit it in 90 days, see where we're at and what we wanna do then. We'll maybe have some definite answers of what's going on, and that would help.
Well, let me ask you this, the front lot guy is a year out. Is there another guy, front lot guy?
Only a rumor, I can check it out tomorrow.
Oh, only.
That was a real estate guy that I was
Yeah,
talking to.
and then backlot.
I make a motion, we just revisit this in 90 days.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment. Sorry to hold you up, folks. Public comment?
Swore I wasn't gonna talk. I swore. A public body has no business speculating in real estate, ever. Not now, not ever. Don't know how you got here, but you shouldn't be here. It's not a place for a public body. I wasn't around when you developed the Commerce Park. I'm sure it was a good idea at the time. It's not a good idea for public bodies to try to manage and speculate in real estate. None of you guys have the experience. There's 2 licensed realtors sitting in this room today. And if you were our client, if we walked into a listing appointment and we heard the things that you guys have just said tonight, we would walk out and not deal with you because you're ethically violating all of our policies and maybe a bunch of laws. So here's my bigger issue. My bigger issue is that you're demonstrating that your votes from prior meetings are meaningless. That, you know, you make resolutions, you pass them, and then you don't follow them. It sets a terrible example, and it probably violates some ethical standards that you've previously agreed to. It's bad public policy to not do, or to do no bid contracts. I understand why. I believe you guys that it may be the best decision here, but it's bad policy. This is the biggest public project that this township has ever taken on, and you started out with a no bid contract. No one says you have to take the low bidder. You can maintain your loyalty to Performance Engineering, is that their name? Even if they're not the low bidder. You've demonstrated publicly in this meeting tonight that they have got the capability, the experience, the resources that you want. So hire them. But set policy and follow policy. ARPA funds. I've suggested in a prior meeting that you actually pay firefighters ARPA bonuses. You can do it, it's legal. You did it for the police officers. Please do it for the firefighters. Please buy this police department 2 vehicles with ARPA money, please. This is a one-time windfall. It's not gonna come back again. You're not gonna have this opportunity again. I've copied the board on emails about Ludington holding public meetings on how to spend ARPA funds. Today, in the Petoskey paper, Emmett County announced that they're doing the same thing. You should consider that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment? Yes, sir.
I do. Yeah, I don't like the no bid engineering contract. In fact, I told you people when you kind of went down that road, when you got this person, his bid was much lower than anything. It was a foot in the door, and you just kept going down the road and ended up in a corner where, yeah, what you're doing now is probably what you need to do, but you shouldn't have allowed yourself to get in that position. I'm also concerned, I'm old, I've been here for a long time. I was here when they did the engineering contract with Wade Trim and ended up paying 600 grand for a design of a system that never happened. This contract, the only thing I saw tonight was just that 784,000. I hope there's some contingency in there that if your petition doesn't pan out, we haven't designed another system that we're gonna end up paying 784,000 that never gets built. That would be a horrible thing for a township, it's a horrible thing for a township board to do once. None of you were on the board at that time. It would be even more horrid to see that happen twice. So I hope there's some provisions in there. I haven't seen the contract.
It would be the 3rd time. There's actually happened twice before.
But the world, we have a works.
Blame the works, yeah.
Well, we really do need to
Is there a contingency in there?
Yeah, there's, in fact, my thought is, you know, like I talked to Bob,
$495,000.
that, Rob looked us over and there is a, you looked at it too, didn't you? The Hoots letter? That, until that money is there, we're not, you know.
We're not obligated. That's the way I read it.
Yeah, well, my thought, Bob, is I just wanna fill all the petitions from him, then he sign it, then send it to him. Which we know we have 55% or 60% or whatever we're gonna get.
Sure.
Well, we don't have all the petitions in,
Well, the law says 51%.
51%, yeah. I understand. My cushion, my personal cushion.
So you're saying there is a provision in there, so we.
Yeah, we actually sent it out to Rob, there's a provision. Just a moment.
As our township attorney, Rob Huth.
Rural development holds the signed agreement until the letter conditions is signed and funds are obligated for the project. After obligation, agency concurrence will be given, the agreement can be distributed to the parties.
So what you're saying is you just hold off on signing this contract until after the petitions come in? You let
I
the
feel a lot
51%
better about that, that's a black and white to
Well,
me.
that
But
will
you have
only-
that discretion because we have until what? Until bid time, turn all that into USDA, right?
Mhm. Well, it's just, we don't have to turn petitions in, we just
No,
tell them
no,
we have.
you don't have to turn in all that big list of
Right.
documents.
Right.
Of which this is one you and Dawn been attacking. As I recall from what they told us, you don't have to turn that in until, the final bid time, correct? That's what I remember them saying.
Yeah, until we go out for bids, that's about the time that you turn this stuff in, that's what I remember
Right.
as well, we'll check on that, but
Because remember, they have to approve the final bid, the USDA even has
Yes.
to approve the
they
final
have to
bid.
approve it, so.
So, it's not like you don't have time.
Yeah, after obligation, agency concurrence will be given and the agreement can be distributed to the parties.
Right, so it's after the concurrence, so.
Do you want me to call Smith and find out what the deadline is?
You could do that, you were talking about that earlier too, weren't we, in the sewer subcommittee meeting?
Mhm.
Yeah, you might as well give them a buzz.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Is there any more board comment? I'm sorry, public comment? Board comment? Anybody? Motion to adjourn? So moved, go green. Ball game, John.